Okay, this is an interview of Frank Printsky, Wednesday, July 31st, 2002, at the Division of Military Naval Affairs Headquarters, Latham, New York. The interviewer is Michael Russert. Could you tell me your full name, your date, and place of birth, please?
Frank J. Printsky. Date of birth is April 24th, 1921. What else?
Place of birth.
Place of birth, Troy, New York.
Okay. What was your pre-war education, pre-military service education?
Well, I had just finished high school.
Okay. Where did you go attend high school? In
Troy High School.
Okay. Did you work at all prior to the war?
Oh yes. I worked with, when I got out of high school, I worked with a business concern, fruit and vegetables and everything for up until, let's see, I graduated in 1940, so in 1941 I worked, no, 1941, then I went to the War Fleet Arsenal. When we had the war, when the Japanese invaded us and bombed our Pearl Harbor, then I got a job at the War Fleet Arsenal. Up to then,
What did you do there?
I was just delivering goods from department, from building to building. I had a guy that drove a tractor, and I had a truck behind me that had wheels on it, of course, and had all the different equipment and supplies that I was taking from building to building. All he did was just drive me to those places. That's what I did for 8 hours.
When you heard about Pearl Harbor, where were you and what were your feelings about this?
I was home, just getting ready to go to church that morning when I heard the President of the United States told us about the invasion, about the Pearl Harbor bombings. And well, I was myself, oh my, I says, this doesn't look good at all. That's the first thing that came to my mind, because I was 20 years old, I was at that age, you know. And but I did go to church, and then I was reading all the story about what was going on through the papers and everything else.
Did you enlist or were you drafted?
No, I was still working. I still worked for a while, and then I got a notice from the Army to be drafted. And I went home and I sat down and I thought it over and I said, well, what do I want? The Army, the Marines, the Air Force, or the Navy? And then I knew I didn't have good eyes. My eyes weren't good at that time. So I figured I wouldn't be able to get in the airport, so I decided to sign with the Navy. I went to the U.S. Navy. Okay,
could you tell us when you enlisted and then just tell us about your basic training?
Okay, I enlisted in the Navy in September 22nd, 1942. I went to boot camp for 30 days, then to radio school from October to February 26th, 1943 at Newport, Rhode Island, and received the rating of a Radioman 3rd class. And do you want me to read all this?
It's up to you, whichever way you would like to do it.
Okay. Then from March 1st, 1943 to April 15th, 1943, I was transferred to Portland, Maine, to another radio school that was on an island. Here we had to learn the German code, and being secret, we couldn't tell anyone about this. The German submarines transmitted their messages mostly at sunrise and sunset. Our cathode ray tube receiver was located in our emergency radio room underneath our 5-inch gun mount. The German message will last only 20 seconds. Our receiver will show the location or bearing of the submarine. 2 other destroyers will do this also, and by doing this, we knew exactly where the submarine is located. Then either our Navy planes or destroyers, if close by, go after the submarine. We went aboard for duty on the U.S.S. Murphy DD-603 on May 10, 1943. We crossed the Atlantic Ocean through the Rock of Gibraltar into the Mediterranean Sea to Iran, Africa, where we trained for the Invasion of Sicily. This occurred on July 10, 1943. We had a near miss from a German bomb on our fantail, and this was called a hit. On July 28, we escorted troop ships to Palermo, Sicily, and that night we were bombed by German planes. The troop ships were surrounded by the destroyers and set up a barrage of fire so the planes couldn't penetrate through and drop their bombs. We were involved in shooting down 4 German planes. However, one of the German bombers found their mark with a bomb on our sister ship destroyer, the Maddox. The report read, "No survivors," but we later learned, this was just about a few years ago, we later learned that there were 71 survivors.
What were your feelings when you were under fire for the first time?
Scared stiff. I was really scared. Yeah.
Were you below decks or were you?
No, I was in where my duty was into the emergency radio. That's where my duty was, and that's where our receiver was.
Mm-hmm.
And underneath this 5-inch gun, and of course, all I go like this, you know, we're underneath the 5-inch gun, and man, that thing really is banging, 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 you know, firing at the planes and everything. And then they showed us something. I don't know what it was. They showed we set up a barrage of fire. See, we surrounded those troop ships,
Mm-hmm.
and we set up a barrage so the planes, if they're going to break through, they're going to get hit somehow with something, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, being that we set up the barrage, they couldn't bomb us through that, so they just kept dropping the bombs all over, and they missed every one of our troop ships because there were 5,000 men on each ship. But we did manage to. We got noticed the next morning through our communications officer that we were involved in shooting down 4 German planes.
Mm.
We later patrolled along the coast of Italy, then back to Iran, then back to the United States. Now in Italy, they had the invasion of Angio Beachhead, and it's terrible. All the troopers, soldiers dying in the water, all shot. Terrible. That's when I knew what war was about. Okay, on October 13, 1943, we were transferred to Portland, Maine, and on November 7, we went aboard the Winslow and went down to Recife, Brazil, and on November 20th, we went aboard the Summers DD-381 for duty. We patrolled the Atlantic between South America and Africa. On January 3rd, 1944, that night, we sank a German ship, and on January 4th, we picked up 132 survivors, 112 Germans, and 20 Italians. And you know what's funny about that? We were all on the fantail of our ship, you know, and that day the officer deck saw me doing nothing. He grabbed me, he says, "Take the water and pass it out to the prisoners." I had this metal cup and everything else. So I went and I gave the 10 Italians, they drank the water, and I went over to the German, gave him the water. And he took the water and slapped it out of my hand. He wouldn't drink out of the same cup the Italians did. So I didn't know the officer was watching me. I took the bucket and the cup and I just threw it in the ocean. Boy, did he give me that. Okay. On May 12th, we left New York with a convoy to Plymouth, England, and entered port of May 23rd, 1944. On May 27th and May 29th, 2 German raids while we were there. But they didn't hit us. We didn't know any damage to any of our ships. Then on May 23rd, we left Plymouth for Belfast, and we were told that we will be in the invasion of France on May 31st. So we left Belgium to Clyde, Scotland. Now the reason why I can tell you all this, I recorded every day that I was on board on the Summers, on my ships. I kept a record of all the things. I didn't have complete records, but I was able to record whatever I could each day, and that's what I did. And that's why I know all this stuff that I got here is exactly what happened on my trip in World War II. I gotta read some stuff out of there too, because I got tired of writing. On June 3rd, 1944 was our big important day. Our captain told us the part that the Summers would play in the invasion at 9 a.m. So we left Clyde and started on our way for the coast of France, across the English Channel, where the invasion will begin on June 5th at dawn. On June 4th, France will be hit with 15,000 tons of bombs. Then our fighting ships, battleships, cruisers, and destroyers will pour shells on the beach for 1 hour. Then our troops will land on 6-4 on our way. No, on our trips. Then our troops will land. On our way to the invasion on June 4th, we received a message delaying the invasion for 24 hours. So we entered port of Melford Haven in Wales at 9 a.m. Then, the next day, we left port of Melford Haven and started for the coast of France. We started to rendezvous with other ships and head for the invasion coast. We are hitting La Haven, France, and bombers started to bomb invasion coast at 3 a.m. Never saw so many planes flying overhead, flying over us, heading for France, and nothing can stop us now. Sea is very rough, but weather is clear. At 8 p.m. we started to drop depth charges and firing AAA batteries, though no planes have been seen. General quarters will start at midnight, June 6th. The excitement is now started in about 8 more hours, and our troops will be landing and make history. On June 5th, time is now 11 p.m. and chow was down at midnight. At midnight, when we had our chow, it was our last dinner for the time being, and we were all served turkey at midnight. We just went out sleep when they woke me up to serve turkey. Then we encountered a mine at 9 p.m. But it missed us. On June 6th, invasion is now underway at full scale. At 9:30 a.m., the invasion of France was announced to the world. We are now heading for France with the second wave of ships and invasion force. Been dropping depth charges all day on sound contacts. Where is it? That day, on June 5th, this was the message we got from General Eisenhower, Dwight D. Eisenhower. He says, soldiers, sailors, and airmen of the Allied Expeditionary Force, you're about to embark upon a great crusade toward which we have striven these many months. The eyes of the world upon you, the hopes and prayers of liberty-loving people everywhere march with you. In company with our brave allies and brothers in arms on other fronts, you will bring about the destruction of the German war machine, the elimination of Nazi tyranny over the oppressed peoples of Europe, and security for ourselves and the free world. Your task will not be an easy one. Your enemy is well-trained, well-equipped, and battle-hardened. He will fight savagely. But this is the year 1944. Much has happened since the Nazis' triumphs of 1940 and 41. The United Nations have inflicted upon the Germans great defeats in open battle man-to-man. Our air offensive has seriously reduced our strengths in the air and the capacity to wage war on the ground. Our home fronts have given us an overwhelming superiority in weapons and munitions of war and placed at our disposal great reserves of trained fighting men. The tide has turned. The free men of the world are marching together into victory. I have full confidence in your courage, devotion to duty, and skill in battle. We will accept nothing less than full victory. Good luck. That was her message.
Could you hold that up in front of you to the camera?
Okay, I got it.
Okay. Where was I?
Now, while this firing was going on for the invasion, were you in the radio room or were you on deck?
I was on deck at that time. There were no submarines there.
Right.
We didn't have any problem with submarines, so my duty was with the submarine, tracking submarines. So at that time, I was on deck and I could see all that. But once I went to general quarters in my radio room, I couldn't leave there. I had to stay there continuing until general quarters is dismissed. Okay, now let's see. I read about June 7th, didn't I? About saw so many planes and so far. Yeah, okay. Okay, still on June 7th. We were raided by Germans at midnight. The barrage was terrific. I saw a minesweeper hit a mine, hospital ship hit a mine, U.S.S. Jeffers, a destroyer hit by shore battery. I'm not scared at all like I was at Sicily. I don't know why I said that, but I must not have did. Germans raided all night, dropped mines which sank a DE and a D destroyer escort and a destroyer. June 9th, Germans heavily raided us all night and dropped mines. U.S.S. Summers shore bombardment with today. So that means every ship had a certain day where they would use their shells at the shore. We looked closer to the beach, you know, and they contacted a certain Army division, and they would tell us, pinpoint us where to fire our shells. And then we did that. We go back to our position, and all the time different destroyers and ships were getting there with their shells, doing the same thing. Then on June 10th, from midnight on, Germans gave us terrific raids, and tonight I saw the greatest anti-aircraft barrage that beat Sicily by a mile. Bombs were dropped too close for comfort. Roar of guns on beachhead is terrific. 6 a.m. and Germans are still raiding us. 2 destroyers were sunk. Now the reason why I know all this, I'm a radio man, and all the communications come through us, and I get all the reports of the communication. That's how I know about all this.
Now, were you on deck during any of this where you could describe what you could see or what you saw?
When I wasn't involved with the radio capacity with my submarine, I was available to go around and look.
Could you describe how this looked to you, all these ships and all this firing and
Oh gosh, it's when I turn around, when we started the invasion, going in with the ship, we started out, and behind us they started to come ship after ship after ship, and we weren't even near. We were almost near France, and you could turn around and you see ships. They're just loaded with ships all over. Our cruisers and everything were already in there. They already been bombing for an hour, and then our turn came, and we came up. We went in and we bombed for an hour. And then we started out, and we all got in our positions. Every ship got into their position. The LSTs, they had like a track in the water. They know exactly in that water where they're supposed to be. And I'll explain to you why, what happened in a minute. I'll come to that. I think I got it down here. That was on June 7th. Okay, on June 8th, Germans raided all night, dropped mines which sank a DE and DD. On June 9th, Germans heavily raided us all night and dropped mines. U.S.S. Summers, shore bombardment today. Then on June 10th, from midnight on, Germans gave us terrific raids, and tonight I saw the greatest anti-aircraft barrage that beat system. Oh, I already read this. June 11th. Germans again raided all night long, and we were attacked by German E-boats. Now we had another problem. The E-boats go 75 miles an hour, and they're one of the hardest boats to hit. Our gunners, we were down in Recife, Brazil. They had E-boats that went. They had boats that went as fast as 75 miles an hour, and boy, they had a hard time. They just couldn't hit them. The only way you can hit them is by luck. You couldn't, because when they zigzag at 75 miles an hour, there's no way you can get that gun to hit in front of the bullets to fire in front of them to hit the thing. So, but we at night. But when you have more ships firing at those E-boats, then we can hit them, because they can't zigzag all the ships firing. Then on June 11th, Germans again raided all night long, and we were attacked by German E-boats. 2 more destroyers were hit by torpedoes. Guns still continued on the beach. June 12th, no German air raids, which was a relief. Attacked by E-boats all night long. Another destroyer, U.S.S. Nelson, hit by a fish. A fish is a torpedo. We started to fire at E-boats and found out. We started to fire at E-boats when we were ordered to fire, and found out they were our own LSTs. And we shot down we destroyed an LST. And what happened was, you have a pack. This is a pack, and this is in the water. And only in that pack can American ships go in. Only American ships can go in that pack. They strayed off that pack. They went somewhere else. And we were ordered by our dead division. They thought it was a German ship sneaking in. They told us to shoot it down. And that now we heard we sunk the ship and everything. We were all clapping and everything. Wow, we got one. And then we found out next morning was on LSD. I think we killed 218 soldiers. But that's what happened. You saw what happened in the war over where we shot some of our own men, right? Well, I'll tell you another story too. When we were on a Murphy, and we went back to America, to Maine, and we were transferred from Maine into Portland off the ship. That was on October 13th. On October 18th, the Murphy was down in New York, went out on a convoy, taking ships over to Europe, and while they were out in the ocean, they found out a tanker from Maine was coming down into the path of the convoy. They ordered the Murphy to go and intercept the tanker to take another route. Well, the Murphy went up to intercept. And, I don't know exactly what happened. I don't think anybody knows what happened. But at the time, I was told that the officer deck was Mr. Beale, Lieutenant Beale, and the captain was sleeping in his quarters. And all of a sudden, the destroyer was cut right in half by the tanker. Right in half. And the front part went over on its side. And they tried to save as many men they could, but they lost 31 sailors and 4 officers. And I lost a good buddy there. But that's what happened. And that was just 5 days after we got off the ship. So who knows? I was just lucky I got off it. Okay, June 14th. June 13th. Very busy night. Attacked by planes, E-boats all night long. More U.S. ships sunk. Torpedo missed us by 10 yards. We almost got it. June 14th. Our first night we had peace and quiet. We pulled close to the beach at 1700 to shore bombard positions that the soldiers couldn't get at. Firing and roar of guns is still continuing. June 15th. The worst night we had yet, and the first time I was a little scared. Germans gave us the heaviest raid yet. Bombs dropped too close for comfort. Firing was heavy, and the bombing of the beach is terrific. June 16th, it's 2 a.m. and the Germans are bombing like hell and the boats are firing torpedoes. We saw a ship just get hit. On June 17th, clear night. Again, German raided all night long. Again, bombs dropped very close to ships. Mines were also dropped. Got a German, I don't know what that means. I got a German something. June 18th, Germans again gave us terrific raids at night. Firing didn't stop from dusk to dawn. At 11 p.m., left France, water relief for Portland, England. We are all out of food and eating on rations. Then at 12:30 a.m., the U.S. and 3 other destroyers were attacked by torpedoes. This was when we were going back to Portland, to England. Our 4 destroyers really gave those planes hell. We dodged 4 torpedoes and we reached port at 5 a.m. And we left Portland for Clyde, Scotland with 6 big supply ships, still without food, and we're beginning to feel hungry, well, no doubt. June 20th, we entered Plymouth at 1700, put on supplies and food. And then on June 21st, we entered Haven, Wales, getting ready for something big again. The cities are not so hot in England, but the countryside is beautiful.
What did you mean by that?
What?
The cities weren't so hot, but the countryside was beautiful.
Well, they gave us liberty.
Mm-hmm.
And I never record my liberties. I just what I do here just a little bit. But I went to where did I go? We went to London and everything, and then we rode a train out to the countryside, and boy, it is beautiful. The country is beautiful. Mm-hmm.
But you didn't like the cities.
But the cities, London was terrible. I didn't like London. I didn't like. We were stationed in Southampton. We didn't like Southampton. And here we're in Clyde Havens in Wales. It's part of England, but still, it's the only place that was really, really nice. And I'll tell you why. Oh no, I don't have it with me. I went to Scotland, and I wore a kilt. I took a picture of me in a kilt. It's in Scotland for the fun of it, you know. And I still got it, but I didn't bring it with me. Anyway, Scotland is a beautiful country. It is beautiful.
How did you feel about your relations with the English people?
Oh, that was great. Mm-hmm. They did everything for us. Whatever we wanted, anything. We want any food. Someplace they didn't even take money from us. They were really good to us. You know, we had no problem with the English. And when we were in Ireland too, we had a good time there for one day. That's all. We pulled in there sometime with some of our convoy ships because they had no room to bring them into England, so we stopped there. That's the one I went. We got 3 girls and went on a date. We went to a movie, see Hoop Gibson. That's an old time movie. Okay, now let's see. I was at the. Okay, then on June 22nd, we left Melford Haven with a convoy of 15 ships loaded with troops for France. Now we're going to something else. To France, which is Cherbourg, which has not yet been captured yet. We are now getting back in the war again. Oh, this was still part of northern France. Here's luck. Because Cherbourg has not fallen per schedule, we pulled into Cherbourg at 2200 and stayed until the French port falls. And on June 15th, we reached my first mail, which was put me in good spirits. I don't know if you want all this or not.
No. Why don't you just tell us, some of the major events that happened to you after...
Okay.
After you left Cherbourg, what did you do? Convoy duty again, or
we were on duty all the time now, going back and forth. But now I want to reach the point. We were involved in another invasion. I want to reach that section. I didn't write it down, but I know I got it here. Okay. We were patrolling back and forth from England to France, bringing materials and supplies, and we were escorting troop ships, ammunition ships, ships carrying oil for the ships that needed oil.
Mhm.
You know, we can transport oil from one ship to another. The oil ships on the ocean, we're out in the ocean, they will come over and they sling us a line and give us oil for our motors and everything.
Mhm.
And that happened quite a few times. And sometimes if a man is very sick or something and we got a doctor aboard or they got a doctor aboard, we would transport that man over to that ship to be taken care of by the doctor. That's how we operated in the Navy when the guy got sick. See, some ships had doctors.
Mhm.
I know cruisers and battleships had doctors, but our destroyers, I never saw a doctor. Yes, we had a doctor. We had a doctor on board our ship. I guess every ship had a doctor. And when we were going back to, when I left the Murphy, we were coming back from the Murphy, we pulled into Brooklyn Navy Yard. We're in Northern Africa. We had a 5 destroyers play, had a game of baseball, softball, you know, and I pitched 3 games while we were there. And on the way back to New York, I came down with appendicitis. And the doctor, they scrubbed the officer's table and everything else and put a white sheet on there and put me on there. And he put a pendulum up there going back and forth between 2 things. And he's waiting for the pendulum to stay in between those 2 posts so he can operate on it. It never did.
Hmm.
So, and meanwhile, my appendix was getting bad, so they took and got a lot of ice and they froze my side. And as soon as I get in Brooklyn Navy Yard, 20 minutes later, I was under the knife and I had my appendix out. On July 12th, we left Plymouth with a convoy of 30 ships for the Mediterranean. We got to the Mediterranean, Oran, Africa, was back to my old hunting grounds.
Why maybe just describe the duty you were on for the rest of the time, or
I just want to tell you that we, on August 8th, okay, on August 14th, we left Corsica for southern France with 5 ships on a special mission. We were to bombard and capture 2 islands, 1 hour before the second invasion of France. On August 15th, we attacked 2 islands that was 3 o'clock in the morning. We sunk 2 German ships, 1 a destroyer, picked up survivors. We boarded the German ship, and then we shore bombarded the islands for 2 days. On that day of August 17th, we sunk 4 E-boats. Then we had a big air raid at 3 a.m. in the morning, and then on August 22nd, we were fired upon by shore batteries. The shore batteries were big guns that were hitting us. 14-inch guns opened up on us. But that was it as far as southern France. We didn't have any more. Once we got rid of the planes bombed the 14-inch guns, we were free sailing, going into the shoulders. Didn't have any problem after that. And then, from then on, we went back to France, and we patrolled also in Sicily, and also back and forth. We were going back and forth from America to England with supplies, ships, and everything else. And we were doing that until the war ended. And when the war ended, we went back. Our ship went back to was brought back to Charleston, South Carolina, where we decommissioned it down there. And after it was decommissioned, I was transported to New York, where I was discharged on December 5th of 1945.
Okay, what do you think would you say was your most memorable experience?
Oh gosh, there were a lot of them. There were a lot of them. I can never forget the bombings. I can never forget those. And, yeah, I mean, you're right there, and it's boom, boom, boom. Oh, and you're holding your ears and all that. And one time my ship would go way up in the air from a near miss. You know, a bomb would come near close to us, and we're scared stiff. You know, and it's undescribable actually when you look at it, especially when you see all those dead men. That was really that's what hurt me so much. What amazed me also was that the bombing when we protected those 5 troop ships. We're so glad that we didn't let a plane get through and drop a bomb on that troop ship. Imagine 5,000 men on that troop ship. They were big ships, and then I think we had 12 destroyers surrounded, and that's why they couldn't penetrate us. You know, we fired these 20 millimeter, and every other bullet's got a tracer, and you can see where the bullets go. And while they were firing one section, our 5-inch guns were firing in another section. They were doing everything to keep those bombers from getting in.
How do you think the war changed your life? Your service in the military changed your life?
Very much, very much. You know, it made a different person out of me. I was a wild young kid. When you look at it back in those days, we had to be. We were tough. You know, I'm Polish, and I lived in South Troy. And in South Troy, we had Italians, we had Germans, we had French, English, and there was a church for each one. There was a church for each one, and we lived up on a hill, and we had our fights among each other. Eventually, Italian male married an English girl, and then vice versa, and things turned around, and then we all started getting together. That's how it all started. So, but we all learned our lesson. The war taught us a lot. How important life is. It's really, really something. But I would never wish this on anybody. Never.
Did you use the GI Bill at all?
I went to college when I came back, and after college I got a job with 2 different companies, and then I passed an exam for the state of New York, and I worked for the state controller for 34 years. I worked my way up.
Yeah, how did you feel when your ship was decommissioned? I mean, you were on there for a long time.
We all cried. Everybody cried. Yep, the commanding officer, commandment of the South Carolina barracks and everything else, he was a 4-star man, and he read everything about what the Summers did. The Summers, this was our, I think, 3rd or 4th Summers that we were on. I think there were 6 of them altogether, and he read all what he had to read about the decommissioning and everything else, and we went through it, and then we all went back to our barracks, waiting for our orders to go back to New York to be discharged.
Now, do you know what happened to the ship? Was it scrapped?
Oh, yeah.
Or?
It was scrapped. Yeah, the ship was scrapped. And I think all the others were scrapped too. I imagine they were.
Yeah.
Do you belong to any veterans groups?
No, I don't. No.
Do you have any contact with any of your those that served with you?
I went to reunions with the Summers once, but I never went with the Murphys. See, on the Murphys, we were only on there for 5 months, so I didn't get to know everybody. And that's why I never went to the Murphy reunion, because I didn't know anybody. But I did go to the Summers once. And I came down with medical problems and everything else, and traveling, after what I went through with the war, I didn't like to travel anymore. I don't know why, but the only time I fly is when I go out to see my daughter in Dallas.
When did you marry?
I married in 1952, and I had 2 children, a boy and a girl. The girl's out in Dallas, and my boy's still living in Albany.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Do you have some things to show us? And
oh yeah, I wanted to show.
All right, and this. Okay, we've got the one on your right there, but this one here, let me get a shot of that.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
I got two pictures there again.
I think they're
Oh,
both
that's
of
a
the same
copy.
one.
Yeah,
Yes,
okay.
that's just a copy.
Okay, I got it.
You got it?
Yep. All right, let me zoom in on that. Okay, yeah, that's a great shot. Got it.
And I'll show you.
Into the flag.
Oh, it's in somewhere in Washington D.C.
Okay, got it. Okay, got it. Let me get a shot of that too.
Okay, that's another flag we got.
Okay, got it.